And all of a sudden, the door gets kicked in, and something is coming at me, but I can't see it. It's just a feeling. And then all of a sudden, something I can't see, I can only feel it, thrusts a fucking knife into my gut while I'm sitting on the shitter. Hi, everybody. We are back. We have another segment of Unsolved Mysteries that Riverman and I are going to commentate over. In the mood for spooky season, nothing gets our bones chilling like the old school Robert Stack episodes involving the paranormal, the things that go bump in the night. Riverman, how about you tell them about this episode? Go ahead and introduce us here first.
Yep. So this is Samuel's Ghost. It takes place, I think, in the 70s and later in the 80s. And this is a house from Reno, Nevada, that was built in 1860. So this is an old looking farmhouse in Reno, Nevada, which is crazy that like a farmhouse would be in Reno, Nevada. But yeah, there's multiple hauntings in this one, multiple families.
Yeah, this one's interesting because it does kind of cross over to different folks. But I'll remind everybody again, we got this on Rumble right now. Click it on the link. Not sure if it's still up by the time that this isn't live anymore, but it's here for those that are live. So we're going to go ahead and get going in 3, 2, 1, play.
See this hot pink logo. I love this old one.
Mm-hmm.
The Unexplained. So this one kind of just jumps right into it, just kind of gives you a background of what ghosts are in the house before they actually start the story, which is cool. They don't do this very much.
I'll tell you what, this is the creepiest house out of all of them so far
It
today.
is.
This is a creepy looking house.
It is.
Hey guys, what's up, Captain? Howdy. Be chill, man. You're welcome. As long as we're chill.
See these
Yes.
ghosts, dude. These are creepy, dude. These I remember watching these back in probably the early 90s. This guy looks like Travis,
Mhm.
by the way.
Our buddy
Yeah. And
Travis.
this looks like your
Think he
mom, dude.
does?
This looks like your mom, probably from the 80s.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the hair maybe, that's kind of the thing. So we saw a clip there of a little girl levitating. Now I have something to say. Uh, I know that's a staple of possession and haunted houses, like all the way back to like The Exorcist and pretty much any movie you'd watch. But I'm not saying that there's not a lot of credible stuff in this one because it does overlap into different families that take residency in the house. But since this, we've learned so much about sleep paralysis
Mhm.
that if there wasn't a whole bunch of other stuff that kind of went with the levitation, if somebody told me, "Oh, yeah, I was levitating in the middle of the night," I'm the guy that's like, okay. Because even I've experienced, there's certain things in my past that I couldn't explain, but now I'm like, you know what? Maybe that was sleep paralysis.
Hmm.
You know what I
It could
mean?
be.
Have you ever experienced it?
No, but my son is, he was sleepwalk when he was, like, 3 years old. Throughout the house, it'd freak us out, just getting up. He didn't know he's
I
asleep.
remember you telling me
Yeah.
that.
It's creepy, man.
Got it. Yeah, I remember that. You remember telling me that. What's up? Thanks so much, Silhouette, for the $2 holler. Our
Thanks,
house in the
brother.
middle of the street. Our house. So I had an experience one time. I don't know. On the last episode, we talked about the mist, and I had this one dude. One time, I was reading the Lost World Jurassic Park, the novel, in my living room in a chair that we had. And right next to where I was sitting, we had the hallway, like back
Mhm.
here behind my shoulder, going down the hall. And I fell asleep in the chair, and I was home alone because my parents worked super late. And I had this weird. There's a couple of times in my life that I had dreams that were so real they were freaky. Usually, it's like, it's a
Yeah.
dream, it's like an afterthought,
Mhm.
it's almost like a memory by the time you wake up, it's not really. But this was like a Nightmare on Elm Street thing where I was reading a book, and all of a sudden, I didn't realize I fell asleep, and the camera pans around,
Yep.
and now I'm in the boiler
Yep.
room. It was one of those things. Anyway, I I was reading, and all of a sudden, from this corridor, this black mist, and I'm thinking I'm awake.
Really?
This black Yeah, because it was so real. This black mist started coming out of the hallway, and swarming around me, and then I started hearing a sound, but it was a sound that was in a register that wasn't really audible. I can't describe it. I wouldn't be able to tell you what key
Was
or
it high it
note it
wasn't high
was.
pitched or low pitched? What was it?
It was a feeling.
Oh, okay,
It was an aura.
okay.
It was like a bad juju, Dennis Miller, bad juju aura that it's like almost like I heard like Gabriel's
Hmm,
trumpet, but it was like in a key that you could not describe, something that our brains couldn't fathom as this black fog started coming around me. And then I woke up, and when I mean woke up, just kinda like snapped out of it and everything was gone, but I'm still in the same position. And just I remember wanting to vomit. I was, like,
mm.
nauseous, and I was, like, freaking out,
Well, that's
heart
definitely,
palpitations.
something that sounds more demonic because he
It was
yeah.
freaky, dude. It was freaky, 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 and I've never woke look, I had nightmares, I had scary dreams like any kid or even adults have, and I never had a dream like this where I was waking up and I thought I was gonna have a heart attack, I had a cold sweat, and I wanted to vomit. I was so
Hmm.
nauseated. And then I had another dream. And this is maybe not related. In that same house, we only lived here for 3 months. Um, I was in that same hallway, I was using the restroom. Like, I was da 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 da, I was like, went to the restroom to go take a shit or whatever, and this is probably just a nightmare and it has nothing to do with it, but it was another gnarly dream that I've never had before. I was just taking a shit like normal day, and all of a sudden, the door gets kicked in, and something is coming at me, but I can't see it. It's just a feeling. And all of a sudden, something I can't see, I can only feel it, thrusts a fucking knife into my gut while I'm sitting on the shitter. And I woke up and I'm like wanting to vomit.
Jesus.
And it just felt like a knife. Like I knew it was a knife, I couldn't see it.
Hmm.
And it was, and in the same house that I only lived at for 3 months, there's a part in this that reminds me of, oh, you know what? This isn't the one I'm thinking of. That I'm thinking of a different one, the one with the Tallman.
Tallman, yeah, the
There's something
Tallmans,
else.
yeah.
There was there was something in there that reminded me about the same house. Maybe I'll revisit that when we get to that segment, but yeah, dude, I just could not explain those feelings. And now I'm almost kinda wondering, could that have been sleep paralysis?
It
When I was in the
it's
chair?
possible.
Because I don't remember if I could move or not. I just remember being nauseated and, like, gonna jump out of my skin and wanting to vomit. Now, I don't remember being, like, frozen necessarily. But but let's just say, like, I felt very helpless, right? And, people always talk about same thing with the sleep paralysis. Blaine's asking, "Have we ever, had sleep paralysis?" Along with the levitation, whenever I hear stories about, like, the you waking up and you see, like, the demon in the corner staring at you, we all
Yeah.
know that's the sleep demon, which is the weirdest
Mhm.
phenomenon. I'm not saying it's not weird, but that's been attributed to sleep paralysis. And I had a friend tell me about their sleep paralysis, story that they have, like, often enough, and it terrifies me because I don't have it's not a thing for me. I'm not saying I've never had it, but I've talked to people that claim to have it often.
Yeah.
And they pretty much say it's like you wake up and you're levitating above your body, and they see themselves sleeping in bed in real time, and they're helpless because there's a demon in the corner, and it gets closer and closer, and sometimes it's hovering right over them, and they can just watch helplessly what's going on, and it's the most fear-inducing thing I've ever heard in my life. Look at this guy. So look, she was taking a but she they moved
Yep.
houses, because the kids were saying they were seeing a man. They had a psychic come in. The psychic was saying, "Oh, the man says he's good. He's here to protect people." And
Samuel's the ghost.
but I'm like, Samuel, if I could talk to Samuel and I was that guy, I'd be like, Samuel, if you're here to protect him, why are you fucking levitating the kids? Stop scaring them,
Yeah,
you dick.
yeah, they said he ended up moving up to the attic, and then they left the house, and they ended up following him to the new house where she takes a photo, and his face shows up in the photo.
And that's
Yeah,
supposedly him. And this quote unquote expert is saying, we can deduce by the horizontal scan lines that it was probably a picture of a
yeah.
TV. I I
I
don't know.
I
I
think
think
I think it was the guy at the local grocery store, dude, that just took the last photo before they developed them.
yeah,
So,
Why does he look like a serial
I
killer? Why is he so
yeah.
angry? But yeah, I that is not strong enough for me to I have to debunk that. Like it's one of these things where it's like in a court of law, right? You have to be found totally we can't 100% convict you. I can't totally rule that out as not being guy from the photo hut, or whatever. Or it could be a picture of an up close shot of a magazine or something. Who knows? But and
I think, Blaine debunked it right here. This is what it was.
Jake the Snake did.
Yeah. Jake the
He
Snake was
ha
on TV, and they took a picture of Jake the Snake on TV.
That's so funny because I was thinking that, who does this guy
Holy
look
cow,
like when I was
Blaine, you
watching.
solved the mystery.
I think that was Jake the Snake. And they play with your emotions with the show, the production, because, like, the actor they show portraying him, they made it
Oh
look
my
like the guy in the
gosh,
picture,
yeah, that is
right?
spot on, man.
But I'm saying the guy that they showed early in the show when they're in the previous house, the actor they got to portray, Samuel, they obviously made him look like the guy in the picture, but really they never saw him, I don't think, and they're just going off the picture of like, "Hey, let's get an actor who looks like him," and it tries to add credibility to the photo, but they're never clear that they ever saw him in the old house. So literally, this could be a picture of Jake the Snake Roberts on WWF.
Okay,
Because what year is
this is 91, I think. So,
it?
Blaine,
No, is this 91?
this episode, let me see
When did this happen? Okay.
uh, this one, it says 78 to 81, but, I don't know when they end up moving out of the house. The ghost
But
haunted the
the kid
Robinson family when they rented the house. Oh, no, but this isn't the Robinson family. This is the other the Kelsey family. So, yeah, this would be 80s. But, you know what, Blaine?
it could have been Jake the Snake.
Let me give you the telephone number, okay? Write this down, 1-800-876-5353. That's 1-800-876-5353, and tell them you solved the mystery of the Kelsey house.
Yeah, Jake the fake silhouette. Jake the Snake was the man. This kid looks like he sees dead people, man.
Oh god, this
You know,
creeped me
sh
out, this part, man. When they
I
start
just
picking him up out of the bed,
mhm,
and we just missed it, but yeah, he saw the ghost face of the old man in the window.
mhm. Oh, and I have that reminds me of because the door
Yeah,
slammed. I remember one time I was living in this house in, where we're from, and I came home from school, and the door was open, and nobody was home. Like, I was walking home from school, and, everybody I got home about an hour earlier than anybody else. What?
thanks, Silhouette.
Oh, later, Silhouette. Thanks for joining us,
Thanks,
man.
Super Chat.
Anyway, so I would come home and I would always be home like an hour early, and I come home and the door is wide open. Now, that was never the case, but that doesn't necessarily debunk, say anything. It's just like, okay, well, maybe for some reason somebody left the door. Like, why would my parents leave the front door? Whatever. But the front door is open, and I didn't think too much of it, but I started walking towards the front door to go in. And as soon as I got close to kind of push the door open even more, the door slammed on me. And then I heard boom, 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 like running.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not necessarily saying it wasn't an intruder, but the layout of this neighborhood and the house, there was no way, there was nowhere for him to
Yeah.
go. Like you just have to take my word for it. They could have gone out the back door, but it there was no way they would have gotten out the back door without me seeing it. Let's just say that. So I went inside and I'm like, I see nothing.
Hmm.
And I freaked out and just kind of stayed outside and waited for my mom to get home. Like, I'm not going in there anymore. But there was nobody. And I'll never know what that was about. It could have been someone in the
Hmm.
house. I just don't know how they, you know,
No, that's,
that's
well, we can talk about it later, but that one story about your, grandfather
the girl in
walking
the
down the
window.
hallway, dude, that creeped me out the most.
What, the walking down the hallway or in the
Yeah, you said that,
what do you mean?
you used to sleep in the hallway and then somebody walked by your,
Oh, wow. Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. So
that's
that
that's
was
the scariest. I don't think we'll have time for that, but
Oh, I haven't thought about that in a long time, but,
You
yeah,
used
we
to
I
tell
had a
me
little
all these stories, like, on a walk, man, at night. It
that
used
that
to
one I
freak me the hell out, man.
that one I look, these ghosts, dude. This is straight out of, like,
It's
Are You Afraid of the
great, man.
Dark?
I think
This is like the lonely ghost,
they're
dude.
scary looking, man.
I'm
When I was a
telling you.
kid, man, I was scared to death.
So, these ghosts are not Samuel.
No, no.
These are 3 different
Yeah.
spirits. That's weird, and because it doesn't really have any connecting tissue to Samuel, and, Robert Stack is always like, do the hauntings, follow people, or are they just a figment of their imagination? Like, there's no rhyme or reason to this, but I like how the psychic was saying, they weren't really bad, they were just troublemakers. I'm like, "Ugh." I don't believe any of that stuff is good, by the way. I think it's all
Yeah,
bad,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. No, I agree.
When you'd have, like, James Van Prague or John Edwards in those late night psychic shows, dude, talking to, some C-grade celebrity's dead cousin or whatever, I I I'm talking to Billy now. Billy says he's fine. He's in a great place. And I'm like, "Dude, there's no way, even if he really is talking to somebody saying he's Billy, I don't think it's Billy."
That
You know what I mean? I
that's
just
why
don't.
Late Night with the Devil was so cool, I thought.
So that one's over, but, but my point is, yeah, I if you watch that the new season of Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix and you watch, like, an episode about Becky, it goes right there, like, if you believe that, Becky saying her name was Becky whatever, and she, was this, and she died here, they pretty much said, "Well, this doesn't check. Becky's lying to you. Becky's not Becky. Becky might not even be a girl. We don't know who Becky
Okay.
is." So, why would they not why they could easily be lying to you, right? To gain trust or whatever. I just don't believe any of it, and I just don't know. I believe in the unknown, and I believe that we don't know. I just
Why
don't know
don't
what
you
it
believe in
is.
these, but I believe you in your story, your ghost story?
No, no, I believe him. I
Okay.
believe him. I believe well, these ones that are multifaceted where they involve multiple families, yeah, totally. But the thing is I don't believe everything. It's like, obviously, you think about the Amityville Horror, that was totally a con job.
Yeah.
Amityville Horror was totally a money cash grab off The Exorcist. It was exploitation off, the DeFeo murders, 100%. Just because I believe in that stuff doesn't mean I'm gonna believe everybody.
No, I
Just
understand.
like how just like how you watch, Ghost Adventures, dude, come on.
Some of those I believe,
Not a
man. There's a lot though. Some are
I
ridiculous, but
Yeah, but there is absolutely no way they're gonna even if you believe some of it, there's absolutely no way they're contractually obligated to bust out these seasons, and, maybe they can afford every now and a blue moon having an episode where nothing happens, but they could not afford having what happens if, like, you started watching Ghost Adventures and 6 straight episodes, they're not getting anything? You'd probably stop watching. So, there is this pressure, I guarantee, to fake it. I guarantee it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's no way they're getting that much action. And, so, yeah, but I was gonna say about the window, I'll tell you what, on the next segment, I'll tell you about the hallway story Todd's talking about. But the window thing always reminds me of the little girl I was talking about. I don't remember if it was the previous segment or not. I was talking about the basement in the Kentucky house. That little girl, man, she was in the basement in that crawl space, and she was in my grandmother's converted bedroom attic.
Mm.
I'm convinced. So, did you go into her bedroom or whatever briefly, and you'd feel like things were watching you. They talk about it in these shows, temperature drops, they talk about just this feeling of uneasiness you can't really explain. I have felt that, and it's kinda hard to it's almost like a weird sixth
Yeah.
sense, but I remember being on her bus stop, man, and I would look up into my grandmother's attic bedroom from behind the house because the stop was right behind her house, and I would see. I swear to you, man, I'm not crazy. You could be like, "Oh, get your eyes checked." Dude, I had 20/20 vision back then, let me tell you, as a kid. I'm looking up, and I see that little fucking girl. The only time I ever claimed that I saw her, because I would hear her walking
Yeah,
behind me,
yeah.
I'd hear her talking, but I wasn't looking in the basement, but I would see her looking down at us in the middle of the daylight, peeling the curtain back and looking down at us as we wait at the and I'm just like, it's
Did
freaked
did
me
you
the
ever
fuck
figure
out.
out who it was? The little girl?
No, no, we ended up moving away, but my grandparents stayed there, and then my older brother, who you don't know, we sort of kinda all separated at that point, you know, we just kinda went our separate ways, and he grew up being raised by my grandparents, my dad's dad, so he stayed there. We moved back to the Midwest with my mom's parents, and he grew up and ended up going to high school there and going to college in Kentucky you Wildcats and all that
Yeah,
go
yeah.
UK, all that stuff, and I reconnected with him for the first time in, gosh, I think it was, like, in 2009, and I hadn't seen him in some years, and I reconnected with my brother who was kinda long lost via MySpace because that's when
Yeah,
MySpace was
yeah.
like dude, social media when that first came out was like, "What is this?
Mhm.
This is
Yep,
crazy." Like, I was fascinated with it, like, man, because when I was a kid, I used to move around a lot, like, dude, if I had this when I was a kid, maybe I still would have, like, known certain friends. Because if you move away, bye, that's
yep,
it, you're
yep.
done, and, yeah, so I remember I used to go down deep dives all the time on, like, MySpace looking for people that I used to know, just like, "Whoa," seeing what they look like now, and I think everybody had to have had that moment with social media when it
Absolutely.
was new, and, stalker vibes for sure, and then I looked up my brother, and he came up, and then I'd sent him they weren't even called, like, DMs back then on MySpace, but I sent him a message, and we got to talking, and it turned out he lived in Kansas City,
Mhm.
which was not far from where I
Yeah.
lived in
Yeah.
Springfield, Missouri, and so I was traveling and whatnot, and I said, "Well, I'm flying through Kansas City on the way back, let's meet up," and we had a meetup session, and it was kind of just like a weird reality show moment, and I stayed the night at his fiance's parents' house where he was living, and we ate, went to dinner, and that whole night, we just talked about the house.
Mm.
'Cause he's like, "Dude, the house." And I'm like, "Oh, I have to know. What did you see after we left?" And he had
Yeah,
years
yeah, yeah.
thereafter, and he told me some crazy stories, and I can't really fact check the stuff he heard, but he was saying, so, as I got older, you kinda realize that everybody, because it was a tiny town,
Mhm.
small town of Danville, Kentucky. And he's like, when you're a kid, everything's so big and you don't know a small town is huge,
Yeah.
But he's like, no, as I got older, you kind of realize, wow, this town is small, and you kind of find out everybody knows everybody. And I pretty much found out that everybody knew about that house
Mm.
and everybody knew about the people that lived in that house. It's a really small town. But he had told me that apparently there was a little girl that died in that
Oh,
house
wow.
that drowned.
Oh, jeez.
Right. And supposedly, the parent. This is kind of statistic, but the parents, I guess, got divorced. I know that happens a lot when there's like a death of a
Mhm.
child or whatever. And but he said statistically, apparently, before our grandparents moved in that house, uh, every couple that moved into that house ended in divorce and fractured and got torn apart. Now that could just be purely coincidental, but it was an interesting factoid, and then you factor in the fact that a girl died in that house too, and that's exactly what we had
That's
been
creepy,
seeing,
man.
and there's, I wanna do part 2 of this because I think it plays into what's the next episode we're gonna do?
Tallman House.
Okay, some of the stuff in the Tallman reminds me that I wanna, like, piggyback it on, so we're gonna wrap up this
Yes.
segment. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you're subscribing, and, yep, we'll be right back with the Tall Man. Bye.